good morning. Probably I've been blown away. This has been an interesting program, and so two reasons. I love the theme of the program, impact, and I keep telling a whole lot of people, I work with the ecosystem, I work with fintechs, I work with startups, and I tell them that, you know what, don't waste your time building business to make money. Don't waste your time building business to make profit. Spend so much time to make impact. When you make impact, the money is going to come. And I think coming from Nigeria, I was really, really excited, and I'm still very, very blown out. So for three things I've taken out of these 24 hours. Number one, I made new friends yesterday. There was a wonderful session to network. The dinner was nice, thank you. And I love the coffee and everything, and we had a lot of chats, so I met new friends, so that's number one. Number two, I met friends that we've been together for 15 years, some CR2 friends, we've been working together 5, 10, 15 years. And the third is, at least I'm able to visit Dubai again. Recently there was a ban on visas for some countries, of which Nigeria is part of them, but I was able to scale through. And good news is I'm coming from the country that is the most friendly, and also to the country state that is the most hospitable state. So thank you for getting me into Dubai once again. So if I leave, probably I don't know when I'll be able to come to Dubai. So it's been an interesting experience. And Augustine, thank you for your presentation. I think it's as if Augustine and I have discussed before, because maybe I need to summarize my presentation. There were some key things I picked from Augustine's presentation. Adaptability, ecosystem, software as a service, super app. Don't invest too much in emerging technologies, but don't take your face away from it. You should experiment. So which means you have to be very innovative in your ways of doing business. I could just ask a few questions. How many bankers are here? Bankers? Just raise up your hand. How many bankers? Oh, excellent. Artificial intelligence experts, how many of them? AI, VR, AR, how many? None? Okay, I can see one. Oh, thank you. All right. Blockchain. Okay. Blockchain. Big data. Any big data person? Okay, so I used to tell people something. Banking will never stop. Banking will remain forever, which is probably one of the last words in my presentation. But banks might cease to exist. It's very important to realize that. And because I have seen different worlds, I've worked in different banks, and I've been in the fintech ecosystem, I've worked in tech, and I've had opportunity of interacting with a whole lot of people. So a whole lot of sectors. I can easily tell you what we are likely going to see. So I'm going to pick up my presentation from where Augustine stopped. There are some important points Augustine made, which I will dwell more into it, because from what he spoke about, there are things that we as executed in our strategy. And when I say strategy, it's not a paper document. It's an action, a deliberate action. You have to be deliberate. You have to execute it, and you have to measure the progress to know if you're making the right journey. So there are so many things that Augustine spoke about, but one of them that is very important is the outward in, and I think that is where I come in. So when you hear fintech, It's totally outside of the banking sector. A lot of banks see fintech from a different perspective. They've come to take our bed, they've come to take our bread, they've come to share our pie with us. But we from Access Bank, we did not see it that way. We were deliberate to create our competitor. So, when you look at your competitor, I say, you know what? We know you guys are here to compete with us. And we're going to make sure you compete well. Compete with us very well. And we're going to take the value from there. It's an impact conference, and I would like to share what we have done. So I'm not talking from a theoretical perspective. I'm talking from a real-life perspective. These are things we've done. And there was a tweet from Elon Musk a few days ago, and I sent it to my colleagues. He said, guys, we're going to do some dumb stuff. Some of them might become successful, so don't be angry with us. And these are one of the ways we think. When you look at this ecosystem, you are going to do some stuff. So I can say we've done a lot of stuff. Some of them we think we were wrong, corrected it, but you have to keep doing it. And we're able to see the result. I have one of my brother in the house here. I think it's Chuba. He works for one of the oldest bank in Nigeria, probably over 100 years. And the Access Bank is just about 20 years. And I think we have grown more customers than First Bank. And these are the things we've done strategically. There is a journey that you must go. So I'm going to focus more on how you bring in your digital transformation plus the opportunities within the fintech ecosystem. So when I left the core banking to Fintech Foundry, there was a reason, and we set the journey, and we had a 5-year plan. So we're about 2 years into the plan, and by the next 3 years, I will tell you where we want to be. Unfortunately, the currency in Nigeria, the devaluation, as we are growing, the currency devaluation is not making us to compete globally. And we think the best way to compete is to create unicorn of businesses. So that we can also worth about about $100 billion, like Standard Bank. That's the way we want to be. But we can't grow the bank, no matter the revenue you make, no matter how much you do. But for you to grow, you must strategically position multiple opportunities and create multiple ecosystems that can be valued at billions of dollars. So that's the journey we're going. And I also like some of the bankers here to look at the difference between the IT department and a fintech or an innovation hub. So I'm going to start my presentation with some information about digital transformation. And without too much focus on what a digital transformation is, it's very simple. It's just putting digital into your business and let your customer experience it. Without speaking too much technical words. And we can see the journey of investment in digital transformation since 2012 to 2025. From almost about $1 trillion, we are going to about $2.8 trillion in digital transformation. So that is the investment that has gone into banks, financial services, putting a lot of money, different organizations into their digital transformation. I will also speak a little bit on some statistics on digital transformation impact and what people perceive as how digital transformation should be executed. Key statistics on this. Number one, about 23% of digital transformation markets are expected to grow at 23% compound annual growth rate, right? That is what a lot of banks, a lot of organizations think is the journey. Yes, is it correct? Probably yes. It's probably the journey. That might be the way everybody assumes. But I will tell you that we think differently. That's number one. Number two, a lot of about 68% of financial service companies have developed digital transformation strategy. compared to about 63% of other industries. So when you look at the other industries, healthcare, oil and gas, etc., that is the number versus the other industry. And almost 17% of executives think of building innovative digital transformation. And I believe that 17% of those people are in this room. I mean, people in this room are part of the 17%. And there's a reason why I put that innovative. Digital transformation, it's just not about your business alone. There must be an element of innovation into it. Definitely innovation. You can do everything right. According to the textbook, according to the consultant advice, the last word from the CEO of Nokia was that we did not do anything wrong, but we lost. So you can still not do something wrong, and you still lose. And that's exactly why I expect more percentage of executives to think of innovative digital transformation. And I will tell you why we are thinking differently, right? There has been so many conversations about digital transformation, and why is this going to continue? And I can tell you it will continue forever, because we think digital transformation was just a journey of a short while. The social media penetration, the youthful population, smartphone, metaverse coming up today, etc. The journey continues, so you're never going to stop. You do a journey, you end it here. As you're completing the journey, you are starting another journey all over again. So when we talk about digital transformation, of course, it's going to continue. And when you look at the pillars that drives digital transformation, the people, I was talking to Sean on a simple problem in between a fintech and a bank in South Africa. And what the issue was the people, the technology, and the culture. And these are the areas where we can say it's very important for digital transformation to be successful. Your customer must feel your digital journey. They must experience it. You don't tell me you love me. I must feel the love. So your customer must be converted. They must interact with you. Your people must bring in the culture. They must understand that everything has to be digitized. You must be a change in the way you operate, either your business model or your business domain. The process must be automated, must be built, and the leadership must be 100% in support, and the technology, the foundation must support your journey. And these are the real key pillars. So I'll talk about 4 banks across 4 continents. DBS Bank from Asia, BNP from Europe, and Citibank from the US, and Access Bank from Africa. At DBS Bank, they've done a lot around artificial intelligence. They've done around a lot of stuff around open banking, looking at different ecosystems, and they've spent well over average of about $13 million on an annual basis, while BNP spends an average of about $3.5 billion, and Citibank spends about $11 billion. But Citibank has been able to acquire close to about 30 million customers. And I can tell you why they were able to achieve that. When you look at the strategy of Citibank, they focus on customer acquisition, and they went into partnerships with Apple, with so many players in the ecosystem. Access Bank, well, we spent so small money compared to these 4, but I can tell you, Access Bank has about 50 million customers, probably almost the size of the United Kingdom. So digital transformation in financial, that's just a little bit conversation on digital transformation in financial services. I'll also look at what are the things that have driven the transformation faster and accelerated it. COVID, of course, we've seen the growth on contactless due to COVID because of health reason, and also for the innovation as well. And the opportunity in contactless, so during Patrick's presentation yesterday, when he was showing the tokenization of card, that shows where the market is going. Of course, COVID was one of the reasons that has accelerated contactless. Also, we looked at extreme adoption. Because of COVID, From a survey that McKinsey did in Europe, over 200,000 people, about 95% of them have adopted digital platform due to COVID. And also from a shift in terms of payment from cash to digital platform, we expect about $7 billion to move from there. And two key important points, I don't know if the share is not covering, okay, that's fine. A key shift is about 59% have actually accelerated their digital transformation because of COVID, while people who abandoned some projects before, about 66%, had to pick it up and move into the next phase of their journey. So the three key opportunities that digital transformation has given, probably one of them is the improved efficiency in businesses. It has boosted financial inclusion and reduced credit market problems. But are these enough? I will tell you that the answer is no. This can take you to a level, and that level is the same level everybody has. Company A, Bank A is into digital transformation, Bank B is into digital transformation, Bank C, everybody will be on the same level. So Access Bank looked at this and said, okay, are we going to be in the same level with every other bank? The answer is, we said, no, we have to change our strategy. We do the digital transformation, but we have to embed ourselves into the ecosystem. We have to move into the fintech and see what is going on. It's very difficult as a traditional bank to find its way into the fintech ecosystem seamlessly. So the Africa Fintech Foundry was created. And when you look at the fintech ecosystem, when people look at it from a threat perspective, you look at the startups, you look at the innovators, but the ecosystem is big. You have the startups, you have the innovators, you have the venture capitalists, you have the mentors, you have a huge ecosystem to play around with. So AFF was set up as an ecosystem player in the fintech, as a player in the fintech ecosystem. And beyond that, to also create innovation. The traditional IT business is going into oblivion, and we think innovation is likely not going to come from IT. You have to build another layer that think differently, and I go back to the point of Augustine, outside in. So African FinTech, look for innovation from outside, look at what is happening in the fintech ecosystem, and bring it into the bank, to impact into the bank. Sometimes we even bring in competitors. We bring in fintech to compete with the bank. Strange, funny, but I will tell you, it has brought a lot of improvement. So when you look at this strategy, outside in, it's one point I would take from Augustine, and is the real reason why we have Africa Fintech Foundry. Just a little bit about AFF.
My name is Timothy Yusuf. I've worked at Africa Fintech Foundry for the last 3 years and 2 months. I mean, I enjoy what I do here because it's really an innovative building, right? So it's made of containers, and that makes it a cargotecture building.
My name is Oyintokoni Chimamaka Abasa. So currently we have an acceleration program that's currently running. That is a 12-week program for startups. So what that does is the startups come in, they learn new innovative ways, learn new business skills and ways their business can improve, from structure to corporate governance to legal clinic, and then there are quizzes as well and meetings and all of that stuff.
So let me give you a little background as to why we created AFF. So sometime in 2016, we realized that the African startup ecosystem has so much potential, but a couple of them do not get to realize their potential because they don't have the support that they require. So there's a statistics that says that 80% of startups fail within 3 years from their inception date. Now this is primarily because most of those startups don't have what they need to succeed. Now on the other hand, a couple of startups are actually very successful, and a couple of startups have become unicorns out of Africa, basically. Now, so why we created AFF was to see how we can support all of these startups in a manner that connects all stakeholders together and provides value for each of those stakeholders. So we want to be the bridge that connects a startup to an investor, and just makes all the stakeholders together in such a way that creates value.
Thank you. So, at Africa Fintech Foundry, we built Africa Fintech Foundry to create an ecosystem effect where the investors, the startup, the mentors, everybody that plays in there, we can bring the value into the bank. So there are 6 key pillars, or 5 key pillars thereabout. One of them is a digital asset commercialization. We look at the business of the bank, and we are competing. We want to be the Standard Bank of Africa. We want to have a valuation of $100 billion. We have an asset of the bank. We can take it out and make it a $1 billion business. So that is one of the strategy. The second is we sit down, we design and look for innovation. And like Augustine rightly said, you play around with the likes of blockchain, metaverse, with minimal investment. How will this impact our future? What is going to happen in the next 10 years? Who are the players? What are we doing? How will this affect the bank? The third is we run the open banking strategy for the bank. We built an API journey, API economy that makes the bank connect to the entire ecosystem. Real estate, health, any ecosystem that needs to play. Then we have the thought leadership. We run a tech show that is shown on one of the biggest satellite TV, and is a tech and entertainment show, just to put the brand outside to ensure we bring in as many as possible innovators, startups. When you have an idea, you come to AFF, you come to Africa Fintech Foundry. So when I say AFF, I mean Africa Fintech Foundry. And the last is we co-create and we work with startups to even build their idea. You want to compete with us in lending, no problem. Come, let's work together. Let's build your business for you. How do we make you successful? What banking service do you need? And at the end of the day, we became the bank of the preferred bankers to most of the fintechs. So you see most fintechs, they want to work with a bank. So when you create a value, we both have shared the value. In this case, you don't need to come and take my business. And that is how we're building the ecosystem. We have some startups that have 2 million customers and is powered by the bank. So those are the ways AFF has bridged the gap between the fintech ecosystem and the traditional bank. So just a few innovations we've done out of AFF. Probably some of them I would delve into it. We're doing the biometric payments. We're doing summer camp for kids. We're even catching them young. So young people, we put them into summer camp, go into artificial intelligence training, etc. And we're accelerating startups. So these are just high level. These are just a few stuff we do. And I won't need to dwell into that. I will share some of the presentation just for people that might actually need it. And though I will need to make some modifications. Now, when you are building your digital transformation journey and you have not taken the external world into your consideration, you can only achieve a minimal level. But by the time you look at the ecosystem, you look at the bigger picture, there's a reason why the GDP of the United States is about $25 trillion. The United States has about 300 million people. That's not what generated the GDP. China is about $19 trillion. So this comes from outside of China, is the productivity they've generated. And we look at it from that perspective. We don't look at our customers alone. We are interested in the entire ecosystem. And this is just some of our strategic alignment. I spoke about the digital capability. We look at what are the other banks doing. And I will go to Super App, which I will show a little bit about that as well. We don't want to be in the mobile app business. We want to build a super app that does everything. Back to Augustine as well. We knew the journey, we knew the future is a super app where you could do everything, anything, everything. And that's one of the things we build. So that is not a job for the IT department. The IT department can do the normal business as usual. We design and build an app that we can call a super app. We go into venture creation. We have startups. We create the venture together. And we said, okay, do you want to give us equity in this? How do we work together? How do we create your business? What opportunities do you need? We open our markets to you. We have Access Bank in about 14 African countries. How do we help these startups to scale across geography? How do we take them to where we are present in African countries or any other places? So they see us as partners, as business enablers. We innovate and we put the entire Access Corporation into our perspective. What problem does the bank have? How do we innovate to solve the problem? We even go as far as the bank's customers. We meet some of their big customers. Do you have a problem working with the likes of Nestle? Do you have a problem with your supply chain? How do we work together? We work with the Port Authority in Nigeria. And we said, Port Authority, I was in Barcelona and I was in a meeting with the executives of Barcelona Port Authority. And their revenue was about 60 billion euro. So when I came back to Nigeria, I spoke to Port Authority. If Barcelona Port Authority is generating 60 billion euro, why can't Nigerian Port Authority generate $100 billion? How do we work together? What innovation do we need to bring? So the mindset is no more about banking. It's not about we want to bank you. It's about what problem do you want us to solve together? How do we create this problem? So that is the mindset of Africa Fintech Foundry. We'll go to places like Nestle, Heineken. You have a problem with your supply chain. How do we create this? What platform can we create? What do we need to do together? How do we solve your problem? When we grow your business for you, we become your preferred banker. We'll bring in Access Bank. We'll give you a banker to work with you. And lastly, we try to take a lead in innovation. Like Augustine said, blockchain, we created a blockchain network, and we even call our competitor bank. So come and work with us. We are setting up a blockchain network. We want to experiment it. How do we solve problems for the industry? How do we create? We know you're a competitor, but we can create this blockchain together and build an effect that will transform the entire industry. So this is the Access More Super App. It's a super app, and I'll probably do a few demo of what our thinking was. So like I said earlier on, when we're looking at the fintech ecosystem, we look at the entire industry. Who are the players in health sector? Who are the players in education? Who are the players in tech? Who are the players in all the verticals that drives the economy? What are they doing? Who are their customers? How do we create these issues with them? How do we create solutions with them? What are the problems they're having? What are the opportunities? And to be honest, Flutterwave was one of the. Flutterwave is the biggest fintech in Africa today, about $3 billion. Flutterwave came out of Africa Fintech Foundry, and that is one of the success stories we have. A few of them that we're bringing today from zero, they've worth about $20 million, $30 million, and we're still working with them, we're growing with them, and see how we can come up with a strategy that will take them to a unicorn. So when you look at the fintech ecosystem, what are the problems they have? We want to solve those problems. For you to become a unicorn, for anybody to put investment into your business, they first look at an economic factor. You are in Nigeria, what is the macroeconomic issue? How does that impact on your business? They look at your business model. What kind of business are you running? How will your business scale? What are the opportunities? They look at investment factors, they look at the quantitative factors and the regulatory factors. So those are the things we sit down and we try to create a solution for all the problems that will make a fintech successful. So we are seen as a fintech-enabled organization, not Access Bank, Africa Fintech Foundry. But who is the beneficiary? Is the Access Bank. Because we understand the way fintech works, we understand the mindset, we understand the market, we understand the model. And what is the success story? Access Bank in 2016 was about 6 million customers. So as at Q3, of this year, Access Bank is 50 million customers. And most of these customers were acquired digitally. We acquired through fintech partnerships. We have a fintech that gave us close to about 9 million customers. The digital platform we built for the bank, the super app alone, grew to about 10 million customers, and which scaled almost 3 times than the existing digital platform. And I will tell you why. I will also show you the reason how we achieved that. Like I said earlier on, we are very strategic in the startups we work with. We look at the impact. We identify fintechs that is solving real problem, that is being impactful. We're not looking at fintech that just want to make money, just want to grow valuation. When we have a conversation with you in 10 minutes, we know if you deserve to be with us or you don't deserve to be with us. And we can easily tell you where you are going to be. And we sit down with some of them, we build with them. What is your value proposition? How do you want to go to the market? And sometimes we have to tweak their business model, tweak their strategy, tweak their journey. And those are the things that we bring into the bank. So I will give you a very good example. These are some of the new startups in our ecosystem. I will talk about one of them, Tap. We started work with Tap, and they just raised about $4 million recently. Tap powers the payment of every buses in Lagos, the mass transit buses. If you want to make, you don't pay cash. You use your Tap card. So they issue the card, and everybody that has the card must have an Access Bank account behind it. So it's a multiple effect. So the next phase is that because they use the card on the bus every day, we are now looking at the next phase of our partnership. They might take micro loan. Now, the bus owners can take loan because Tap does all the payment processing. So we have been able to create an ecosystem on just this startup alone. There is another startup again that is working on financial inclusion, like an agency banking for banks as well, for transportation as well. That is going to bring in close to about 16 million customers as well. That should be Oyster. So that is the strategy. So we are looking at these startups. What problem are you solving? How do we help you to solve this problem? How do we bring you into our ecosystem? So this is how we look at the entire verticals. We look at the housing ecosystem. What is the problem? What is the opportunity? What is the market size? Who are the players in this place? What are you doing? How do we work with you? We look at education. We look at health. We look at public sector. We look at every areas of the economy and said, this is an economy of about $500 billion GDP. How do we play in this place? How does this fintech play? Who are the guys innovating? We believe banking will continue forever. Banks might stop to exist. And that's why we are creating multiple partners, multiple relationships to drive our business. And we are looking at the impact of every partnership. How does this impact on the business quarter on quarter? This is a new startup that we're partnering with, and this startup is going to disrupt even the bank itself. They are creating a payment platform where you can make payments with their token on POS terminal. You don't need to use a card. They are integrating with that. We're even calling banks to integrate with them. We are integrating with them, but guess what? There is an opportunity for the bank. There's going to be loans on their platform. There's going to be loans. There's going to be loyalty. There are so many assets we're also sharing with them, which will give us revenue. This is one platform that is coming up, Home Zone. In Nigeria alone, there's about 17 million shortage of homes. These guys are solving the problem. And we said, come over, let's work together. Let's create this, let's solve this problem together. The beneficiary is going to be Access Bank eventually. They have a platform that's going to cater for the entire real estate ecosystem. The tenants, the landlord, the mortgage, the developers, everybody. And they've been building for close to about a year. And when they ran out of investment, we had to give funding that, you know what, continue to build. You need developers, we give you developers. We want you to succeed. How do we bring players to support your business And by the time you are successful, we expect these guys to worth about $1 billion in another 5 years when they finish what they're doing with some intelligent product they have. They have a mobile app, they have a web, and they are creating some crazy digital payment platform on their solution. So just a few examples. One of the critical problems for fintech is regulatory. And we know that's a major problem. So we decided to go and partner with the regulator, the central bank. And we said to the regulator, what is your own problem? And the regulator said, oh yeah, we launched the digital currency, but it's not scaling. The adoption is low. We said, don't worry, we'll work with you to create the adoption. But the strategy is for us to create a relationship with the regulators for the fintech ecosystem. And we said, you know what, let's run an hackathon together. Let's call all the fintech in Nigeria to come and participate in this hackathon. Who can innovate, who can work with central bank. And let me tell you what happened. When we launched the hackathon, we had 4,911 applications from different fintechs. And we said, you know what, we're only going to take top 10. This top 10 will come into our accelerator program. We will accelerate you, and whatever regulatory support you need, we already have the central bank with us. And we went with central bank that, you know what, central bank, you know what's going to happen? Adoption, don't worry. You need to tell us your problem statement. And central bank said, okay, you know what? Bring innovators around international remittances, cross-border transfer, blockchain, financial inclusion, white card, and SME, and whatever. So we created these problems, and we brought in the startups together, brought everybody, and we work with central bank. And our journey has changed. Our mindset has changed. So we are turning our central bank from a regulator, we call it changing their mindset to a smart regulator. And we said we want the central bank to also be part of the ecosystem. And let me tell you what happened. No bank can partner with the central bank because they are the regulator. But we are an ecosystem player. We are an impact maker within the entire ecosystem. So it was an easy participation. And about top 10 we came out of it with innovative ideas, and that alone put our brand in the market with almost all the funding coming from central bank. The only thing we did was to create a concept note, go to central bank, we can work together on this. This is the opportunity. We show them the statistics. This is how this will impact on the GDP. This is how this will impact on the economy. We have left banking 100%. We have left Access Bank. We are out of the entire environment. But guess what? The beneficiary is still the bank. So a few success stories from there is it increased the awareness. And let me tell you what happened. The awareness on the digital currency, it is called the e-naira, went up massively. CBN was happy. And now there are more innovations that we are going to be doing with central bank to keep that journey and other innovations. And we now created a new framework to support innovators, because for you to get a central bank license as a fintech, as a startup, is a major problem. So through the relationship, we are creating a new framework, which will leverage on the regulatory sandbox, working with a few partners that can start launching their products. One of the other benefits is going to drive innovation within the country. So we are leading the total transformation of innovation. That is the only way our business can succeed, because there is a limit to which our banking service will get to. If you are not going to drive the innovation, if you are not going to bring the new opportunity, there is no way you can scale. Of course, we became like when you drop a sugar and you see hands, we became the favorite of all startups. Every startup is trooping in and trooping out. Oh, we want to work with AFF, we want to work with you. This is our value proposition. And when you come in, we ask you, what value are you bringing? What impact are you going to make? This is how we select our startup. And we start having new partnership. The biggest telecoms in Africa called us. Oh, you guys are doing with central bank. They are just launching their mobile money project. Let's work together as well. Let's innovate together. Let's co-create together. So we now started another journey. We call it the co-creation partnership with some strategic partners. And of course, our brand we could see a lot of interest in our brand. And then when you go to social media, followership, it went up and other stuff. So a few pictures between us and the central bank, governor, and all the executives of central bank to show the kind of, so we changed from alignment to bond. We are together. We are husband and wife. You can't leave us, you can't leave us, I can't leave you. We are going to die together. And that is the level we have built the relationship to, right? So, when you look at all these things, this is what we think the future of payment is going to be. Because when you look at the fintech ecosystem, you should also prepare yourself as an organization, as a financial service, that this is what we think consumers will be asking for. But before you even go to what consumers are asking for, we need to also understand what is going to drive payment in the next future. Because you have looked at the fintech ecosystem. The fintech guys are very innovative, but you don't need to wait for them as well. You as well have to be very innovative as a bank and be able to integrate with them, be able to converse with them at the same level. The first is the emergence of social media. Over 4.4 billion people on social media. So there are two different pillars, two different measured pillars for social media. New people that are joining, that's number one. Then the people who are on social media, their continuous stickiness to social media. So it's something that is going to drive, the experience is changing. Number two, Africa alone, about 71% of the youthful population believe it's our human right to have internet. And that is it. And with the growth of internet penetration, those are one of the drivers. Of course, 5G network, you can't talk less of that. It's going to change the face of how technology works. Of course, regulation is very important. Mobile money, about 10% of GDP in sub-Saharan Africa is driven by mobile money. And at the same time, financial inclusion is also another opportunity. So these are the drivers for the payment, for the future of payments. And imagine technology, definitely. Blockchain, the opportunity is very massive, but like Augustine said earlier on, you don't have to put in so much money, but you need to be able to know what is going on there, be part of the conversation, either by experiments or whatever. Just find your way to do one or two things there. Of course, I know Augustine also spoke about big data. Big data is going to change a lot around the payments of the future, a whole lot, because decisions we're making about your historical data, about who you are, what you are all about, what you are doing, and what you can do. I can't speak less of robotics process automation, because how many human beings are you going to deploy? We have 50 million customers. How do you want to manage that kind of customers without robotics process automation? Of course, software as a service, very important. Cloud computing, VR, AR, AI, NFC. Definitely, I know Patrick did a demo on contactless. Those are the things that is going to drive the future of payment. So this is what we are seeing in terms of trend. Just to share a few of our thoughts. Buy now, pay later. We are seeing the opportunity on buy now, pay later. Globally, we expect the buy now, pay later transaction to hit about $680 billion. While the market capitalization, we're expecting it to get to about $20 billion. Even Nigeria, we are seeing that market becoming about $1 billion market. And that is exactly why we are putting so much investment on our data sciences and opportunity to create the right data to be able to make the right decision for buy now, pay later. We also built a payment by facial recognition. We are testing it as well. We see a lot of interest. We see a lot of growth around biometric payments. That's what we're seeing in the next wave of transformation. Of course, you can't do anything without social media. And what we are going to see next is people will be getting loans based on your number of followers. Your number of followers will become a whole lot of your risk, your credit rating. Because the expectation is that you have 20 million followers. You don't expect to have a bad loan. And you expect to pay. So we are seeing a lot of stuff being built around social media. And definitely, we see that growth increasing. Of course, with Amazon pioneering the AI-driven payments, we also see that becoming. So I was with Amazon in Las Vegas last week, and our conversation is about we are ready to invest in an Amazon Go and take a store in Nigeria for an experiment. So we're going to take a store, put Amazon Go there, experiment it. That's probably going to cost us about $250,000 or thereabout. But that is how the thinking is. It's a money that is going into research. But guess what? If that is successful, then it becomes a new market opportunity. And this is what we are seeing, and we expect this to grow in the next couple of years. And the artificial intelligence-driven payments, so many startups, so many fintechs. These are some of the fintechs we are working with on AI-driven payments. Definitely big data. I don't think I need to speak too much on big data. Augustine did justice to big data. But there will be so many payments that is based on data in terms of gender, in terms of your behavioral pattern. You could go to a store, by the time you put in your name, you look at your data, and automatically you just pick it. I mean, that's where we are going to get to. You pick an item, nobody's asking you a question. Just by putting your social security number or your national ID, the data is able to tell your credit rating, and there's going to be a lot of research. There's going to be a lot of opportunity around using data. Wallet payments, I don't think you can, because financial inclusion is still a major topic globally, especially in Africa. And any platform that offers a seamless wallet solution is also a platform for the future, because you also want to acquire customers with less KYC documents, and yet you want them to be able to come into the financial services. And there's a lot of investment, a lot of drive, a lot of communications, a lot of conferences around bringing female women into financial inclusion. And the easiest is a wallet solution. So we see wallet payments keep increasing, and you can see the journey of Revolut. You can see cheaper cash, MTN, Momo, and a whole lot of them, just 3 of them, and it's going to continue to scale. So an organization must be ready to support a wallet solution in a seamless, easy, simple, and agile methodology. So we see wallets becoming a big business, and in the next couple of years. And contactless, you can't say less of contactless. Of course, COVID has accelerated contactless, and we're doing a whole lot around contactless as well in Access Bank. And at the same time, we are working with a lot of startups, which was one of the reasons why we work with one of the startups, the TAP, that is doing a contactless solution for mass transit buses. My takeaways are, number 1, you need to find a strategy to work with regulators to support the ecosystem, either you like it or not. They are going to determine any country you are, your regulator will determine your growth. I was opportuned to be part of the team that wrote the payment service vision for my country in 2019. And in that journey, we went to Singapore. And we were with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. It shows their level of understanding, their level of innovative thinking. Also explain why there has been so much journey success in Singapore, which made it easy for the likes of DBS to become so innovative. But when you're in a country where your regulator does not see the opportunity, definitely you have to find a way, an intelligent way, to work with the regulator. So, which is one of the things we have done in Africa Fintech Foundry. Of course, like I said earlier on, I started my presentation with the digital transformation. And the digital transformation, I just did a brief presentation on digital transformation, but that is not the journey alone. You must go beyond digital transformation. You must see the fintech. You must go outside of your environment. Your digital transformation must be able to bring outside inward opportunity, innovation. Of course, this is never going to stop. It's a culture. You must continue to transform. You must continue to see this as a culture. It's not a start and this is the end date. By the time you are finishing a phase, there's a phase 2, phase 3 to infinity phase. Of course, business domain transformation. We've seen how Amazon transformed from an e-commerce business into infrastructure as a service, which is where the money is for them right now. And infrastructure service is not a small opportunity for the likes of Amazon, even Microsoft. Everybody is going into the business. That shows how big the market is. So banks does not need to keep into banking, which is why you see us go more into other areas. We're working with different startups in health sector, in any sector. So the bank is ready to support any startup and create a product around whatever sector you are playing in. Then consumer culture, I spoke about this earlier on. We don't see banking to stop, but banks might cease to exist. And I will end this with experience. Above all this, whatever you want to do, experience your customer experience. Your customer must see you differently. Your customer must see you as a totally different entity that will make your customer trust you, keep their business with you, keep their transaction with you, and always want to come to you. Even when you are not the one providing all the services, you might just be providing 10% of the services to your customer, while the remaining 90% is coming from different places. But the way you are able to aggregate and present it to your customer makes and give a different experience, makes you to be your customer's preferred financial service provider. So based on this, we went out of our ways and we said, you know what, we don't want to build a mobile banking, we don't want to do this, we want to create a super app and create a different experience. And we set a target for ourselves, and this year, that target, we were able to charter it. We went ahead of the target. And it's a new target we set for ourselves as well. So just go through the Access Super App that we built for Access Bank, and let's show how we were able to sell some experiences. So, on this note, I want to say thank you for listening.